Hi, I'm Steve Tobocman. I'm the Executive Director of Global Detroit. We are a regional economic development initiative focused on immigrant inclusion as a strategy for growth and prosperity for Detroit, Southeast Michigan, and across our state. I'm here today to talk to you about hiring international students through the optional practical training portion of the student visa. In a second, I'm going to talk about why it's important to hire international students and why they are a source of talent for unmet STEM talent needs as well. Global Detroit's a recognized national leader and expert in the rapidly growing field of immigrant inclusive economic development. We have published research and best practices guides with the International Economic Development Council, the IEDC, Migration Policy Institute, Welcoming America, and several national publications. We were created 12 years ago with support from the Detroit Regional Chamber of Commerce and the New Economy Initiative. We oversee something called the Global Talent Retention Initiative, or GTRI. GTRI is the nation's first international student retention program. It works with particularly University of Michigan, Michigan State, Wayne State, U of M Dearborn, Oakland University, and Eastern Michigan. But our programs are open to students from all across the state. It helps Michigan employers connect with talented international students to fill unmet talent needs, particularly in the areas of science, technology, engineering, mathematics, or STEM positions. We conduct legal workshops, job fairs, and other forms of assistance for those employers to understand the value of and connect with international students. Similarly, we work with international students by providing legal workshops, soft skill training programs, resume writing, job search skills, including a Global Talent Accelerator, which is an intensive 6-session soft skill training program. And we connect those students with employment opportunities here in Michigan. Well, why am I talking about this? We all know that talent is the #1 driver for economic growth within regions, and that coming out of the pandemic, we have severe talent needs in this state with declining birth rates and rapidly aging population, particularly among STEM areas of employment. The good news is that Michigan is a national leader, ranking 9th in the country in terms of the 31,000 international students studying at Michigan colleges and universities. These students contribute over $1 billion annually to our state economy. And there you see a number of the institutions like University of Michigan, Michigan State, our top research schools, including Western Michigan, that are the largest international student populations. This chart shows you that we've had phenomenal growth over the last 70 years, but even the last 20 years in particular, in international students who now make up more than 1 million American college and university students. While there has been a slight decrease in the last couple of years under the Trump administration, you can see that that decrease still gives us more than 1 million students, and this is still a robust source of talent. Those international students help universities fill seats where we've had lower high school graduation numbers here in the state of Michigan than at any time in the last several years. They pay enhanced tuition. As I mentioned, they contribute to our regional economy. Just in Michigan, Ohio, and Illinois, over $4 billion and 54,000 jobs annually can be attributed to international student spending. They are a critical part of the research and innovation happening at our research universities. We'll get to how important they are to filling STEM needs and the supply of future STEM workers in the United States, as well as what they contribute to our innovation economy. This is probably the most important chart. Here we see the percentage of graduate students across the US who are international. A full 80% of all the master's and PhD students in America in electrical engineering are international students, and 78% of graduate students in computer science are international students. For most STEM and engineering fields, that number is around 50%. If you're planning your future with engineering, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and other STEM positions, and you're not thinking through this population, you are missing sometimes as much as half or more of the upcoming talent. But thankfully, American employers, including those in Michigan, are increasingly recognizing the value of these international students. Right now in the economy, we see roughly 2.5 times as many international students entering the US workforce under the OPT program that I'm going to talk about, as all the H-1B workers coming into the economy on an annual basis. So what can you do? You as an employer can hire those international students under OPT and CPT, which I will explain, the optional practical training and curricular practical training, and you can build a welcoming workplace. So let's talk about the main program, the optional practical training program. Every international student on an F1 visa, which is the vast majority of university students, can work for 1 year by right in their field of study. For those with STEM majors, that can be extended an additional 2 years for 3 years total through the STEM extension, provided the employer uses the federal E-Verify system and they create a training program for that student. There are no application fees, there's no visa lottery, there's no cap on the number of OPTs that can be utilized, and the employer doesn't even need to do the paperwork, the university does. If you use the STEM extension, you could get up to 4 chances at getting an H-1B through the visa lottery. Over the last several years, typically that program is subscribed by a factor of 3 to 1, meaning that you have about a 1 in 3 chance of getting an H-1B for every worker you apply for. You hire one of these OPTs every year for 4 years, meaning the year that they're graduating plus the next 3, you could be entering that H-1B lottery for longer term employment. An H-1B is good for 3 years, and it can be extended for 2 3-year periods, or a total of 9 years. Those companies that have international presence can use the OPT up to the maximum 3 years, and then transfer an employee to an overseas location and bring them back through an L visa, intercompany transfer. If you are hiring STEM workers, on January 21st, 2022, President Biden announced new immigration rules targeting STEM employment, and you may qualify for some of the national interest waivers or other types of visas that are available for employers and high-skilled STEM workers. We recommend that companies build attrition into their strategy with international students. If you know 5, 7 years down the road, you need 5 electrical engineers, you might want to hire 7 or 8 OPT students now and play the H-1B lottery game until you end up with 5 in that position. Also gives you an opportunity to vet that talent to see if they're a good fit for your company. Finally, even if you only hire them under the OPT and they leave after the 1 year or 3-year period, you now have an alumnus from your company who could be a future supplier or customer. How do you make it work under the OPT? Well, you give an offer letter that includes obviously the description of the work, the hours, the compensation, provide details about resources and how this will contribute to their further future career development. You acknowledge that this worker is not going to replace US workers, and talk about that you're going to help their training goals. If they do the STEM extension, you will need to create a formal practical training plan. There's no specific requirement around what this looks like, and most employers are already doing this for their staff. This is about what kind of professional development opportunities will they have, what kind of in-house training will they have. It just needs to be documented. Let's talk about curricular practical training, or CPT. This is really the internship program for students who are still in school. So the OPT is after graduation, the CPT is while in school. You must be have at least a 1-year program. It must be required as part of their curriculum mandates. It allows for full or part-time work. And if it's full-time, it probably wants to limit it to only 12 months or less, because if you work 12 months or more under CPT while a student, you will no longer be eligible for the OPT. You do need to make a job offer. So in addition to using these great talent pools to hire the world's best and brightest who are coming to study at our colleges and universities, we think it's important to build a welcoming workplace. We've heard from employers who sometimes say that international workers are very talented, but concerns about whether they fit in. And we think that it's important that employers make sure that their diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging and other employee retention programs acknowledge international workers and are designed to create a sense of belonging and welcoming for them as well. So we at Global Detroit work with a lot of partners like our friends at Hello West Michigan and others on this slide, and encourage you to reach out to us if you have any questions, if you want to find out more about hiring international students, or you have questions specifically about the OPT or CPT programs. Please reach out to us at the info or website I've shared on this slide, And again, Steve Tobocman, happy hiring, and may your talent needs be filled with international talent in the years to come. We look forward to partnering. Thanks.